What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Breeders Cup update here on the channel. And we're going to kind of look at some replays of last week and kind of talk about those a little bit as they pertain to the Breeders Cup. I've got five races I want to show you here, and we'll kind of talk about what they mean. The Woodbine Mile, the Summer Stakes, and the La Talma from Woodbine. And then two races that aren't official Breeders' Cup prep races, the Iroquois and the Pocahontas from Churchill Downs. We'll show those as well. Just kind of recap what happened last week and show what's going to happen here in the future. I'm going to put this one up here to start. It is a Woodbine Mile. Of course, this is a Breeders' Cup winning you're in for the Breeders' Cup Mile. And so, yeah, let's just get it going. Let's kind of see what we've got here when we look at this and just kind of see what happens. All right, so here we go. Off and running here for the Woodbine Mile. And this is going to be a big race, as far as a prep goes. It usually does produce, if not the winner of the race of the Breeders' Cup Mile, a horse that's prevalent for sure. And it's Notable Speech who's going to get the job done in this one. He's the two horse when you're watching. So, he kind of just bullies his way up here towards the middle of the pack after kind of breaking a little slowly. I thought he was like, I don't know. He's not the smoothest of movers. He was kind of erratic looking at times in this race, but you're going to see, boy, he really just powers home in a big, big way. It's the 6 My Boy Prince, by the way, up there in front, a horse that's been around forever. I feel like, he's kind of just run up at Woodbine, and other places as well. He just kind of shows up in races like this. Sometimes he's on synthetic. Sometimes he's on turf. You just never know. Sometimes he goes really long. Sometimes it's just a mile, but he's out there setting a nice pace here. 47.33 for a mile isn't too bad of a pace. So he's in a really good spot. Gas Me Up is the 9 horse sitting there in second, and he ran pretty well here as well. So it's important to note these two horses finish second and third, the 6 and the 9 there. And the 2 is kind of the only one that makes up a lot of ground in this race. And here he comes, the 2 Notable Speech on the outside. And you can just kind of see, he's on the wrong lead. Now he's on the right lead. Now he's kind of all over the place, but he really just gobbles them up here late in the stretch. Just a nice, easy win. Just kind of gobbles them up down the lane for a nice victory. So I thought this was a good race for Notable Speech. Way to set him up. He's been a horse that's lost. He's been in tough races, but he's been losing. So it was nice to see him kind of get a win there. Nice gallop out for Notable Speech. All right, let's get going now, and let's go to the Summer Stakes next. So a Notable Speech, obviously, like I said, winning you're in there for the Breeders' Cup Mile. And I think, we're supposed to talk about, or at least I was meant to talk about what's going to happen going forward with these horses. Yeah, I think he's got a chance to be one of the shorter prices in that race. I think, depending on what's going to come over from Europe, and you never know about that, I think he's going to be pretty tough in that spot. He did, as I forgot to mention, he got a 101 buyer for the effort. I'm not sure if a 101 buyer wins the Breeders' Cup Mile, but I do think this is a horse that could run a little bit better. Like I said, I don't think that was the absolute best race that he ran in that one. All right, let's go to the Summer Stakes. Enough rambling here. The Summer Stakes is next here. Of course, a Breeders' Cup winning you're in for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. Good. I thought this was a field that was pretty good coming into it. Wild Desert, the 10 horse coming over for Appleby was in this race. Teddy's Rocket, the 12, very good horse. Argos, the 1, kind of good horses here in the United States. I'll play it for you now as they break from the gate here. And kind of a theme for the Appleby horses here was to kind of just go towards the back and try to make that one run. You see the 10 out there, kind of third to last. Teddy's Rocket there, fourth to last. Argos on the rails sitting in third. He's pulling hard. He kind of looks a little bit uneasy here in the early portions of the race. And then you see, kind of some things happen there on the turn. The 4 bears out, hits the 12, and then the 10 kind of has to move out. So a little bit wide there. Up the back stretch, you look, and it's Argos here. I'll just talk about the horses that kind of ran 1, 2, 3. Argos is sitting in about mid-pack there on the rail, saving ground. The 5 2-out Hero sitting there in third. I thought he ran well in this one. He'd kind of been the winner of the local races up there at Woodbine. He's getting the perfect trip, that pocket trip, kind of stalking the pace. Teddy's Rocket back there, and then towards third to last, and then last at that point was the number 10 Wild Desert. Coming into the stretch here, or coming into the turn and heading to the stretch, you can see Wild Desert and Teddy's Rocket back there towards the back, starting to get going a little bit. Argos is sitting a pretty good trip. And like I said, now it's just going to come down to, can the 5 get out? He's kind of boxed in, talking about 2 out hero. He does move out right there, and now you can kind of see he's moving best of those front runners. Argos flying here, but look at Wild Desert on the outside. I thought Wild Desert was going to win this race for sure at this point, but Argos finds a little bit more and is able to hold him off late. A tough loss for Wild Desert. Argos got a great trip, so we'll get the job done. You got to give a lot of credit to that guy again, Flavian Pratt. He just seems to always find a way. He was aboard Argos. He saved the ground. He's able to edge out Wild Desert. 2 out hero, third in this one. Both Argos, they're going to show the replay here. Argos and Wild Desert get 81 buyers for this effort here. Honestly, I think Wild Desert is probably the better of the 2 horses moving forward. I think in the Breeders' Cup, I would want him. And that's not a knock on Argos. I think if he gets another good trip like that, he's got a chance. I don't think we saw a real serious Breeders' Cup Juvenile contender. I think that's the moral of the story here for me. I didn't hate any of those horses. I didn't love any of those horses either. So I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of that race overall. I think we'll see better at the Breeders' Cup. I don't think either one make too much of an impact. All right, let's keep going here to the Natalma Stakes. This is a winner here for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. I'll play this one as well. And it was Corsia Veloce who gets the job done here. The 1 horse, Hot Mash, was second. She was the 6th. La Colasse, the 9, was third. So, and then Dance to the Music, a big favorite here, ended up finishing 4th in this spot. Kind of play this one for you as well. And Dance to the Music, way too far back. I thought, again, these Appleby horses just got too far behind these juveniles here, as Hot Mash took them. And this horse I kind of liked for the underneath and did finish second. Hot Mash taking them to the first call there in front before the 9 takes over. The 9 was 57-1. La Culasse, Frankie Dettori says, oh, let's just try to take him gate to wire here. Ran pretty big in this race. I did not like this race either. Spoiler alert. I wasn't a huge fan of this one as well. You're going to kind of see why here in a second. 81 buyer speed figure, by the way, for the winner, Corsia Veloce. I thought, again, kind of, you see her there on the inside. I thought she kind of got the same trip as the 5 did and was able to just outlast them here. Nobody really closed. You see the 5 is 5 in the last race, I should say. You see the 5 Dance to the Music kind of making that move, but again, very, very wide and very, very far behind. And you just kind of look at them down the lane here. The 1, the 6, the 9, they're not really blowing you away, right? I mean, I thought Argos from the last race kind of was running better than these. I don't know. I just didn't think that was much. They kind of finished, in a blanket there. I wasn't overly thrilled. So I don't really think the 2 Woodbine races for the juveniles really produced much to get too serious about. I do think Notable Speech is a horse that's serious for the mile, but again, he wasn't like overly impressive. He was very good, but it wasn't like, oh yeah, he's going to win the mile after that. You know what I mean? So I don't know about those Woodbine races this year. Usually they're pretty productive. I'm not sure. I'm interested in Notable Speech, not really interested in those juveniles moving forward. All right. Speaking of juveniles, let's go to the Iroquois next. This was not a Breeders' Cup winning you're in, but it was a race that, obviously I think the winner, maybe even, a couple others will run in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. I'll go ahead and play it. The big favorite here was the number 7 Comport Spice Runner. Also a horse that was pretty prevalent in this as well. I hate to just be a broken record. I wasn't overly excited about anybody after this race, honestly, either. Spice Runner and Comport both received 76 buyer speed figures. Listen, they're 2-year-olds. Even the races at Woodbine, you can expect horses to kind of move up. This is a buyer isn't a huge deal at this point, but you're going to see down the stretch. And that's what I kind of look at more than the buyers that they get or any speed figure they get, how they look down the stretch. I don't think these horses look that great down the stretch in this one either. You see the number 7 Comport. He's stalking the pace. He's kind of doing what I thought he would do. Maybe he's a little too close, so that's for sure. 22.69 there, going a mile. Maybe he got a little too close to him, but end of the day, takes over right here. And I think if you're a big favorite, you should win from this spot. Spice Runner's going to win this race. He's been sitting kind of mid-pack. Pretty good trip for Spice Runner. He's going to pick him off late. Voss, the 8 horses, one I kind of liked. He was making a move here on the outside. If you turn for home here, Comport should win this race, right? I kind of think he just fell apart. Right about here is when it started. It's like, I think he's going to win, but he's not really moving that smoothly. You can tell he's a little tired. Spice Runner's really kind of all over the place too. You look, he's in, he's out. Now he moves to the outside for that big run here to try to get the job done. He's on the wrong lead. I mean, I don't know. I just didn't like this race. I don't want to sit here and because they're young horses, right? And they're learning, but I just didn't like it much. Now you got to be honest as well, right? So I don't think your Breeders' Cup Juvenile winner was in this field. Like say Voss there on the outside, the 8 horse. I kind of thought he would run big, and he got third. But honestly, I thought he would run better. Like I said, let's look down the stretch here. It's just Spice Runner right there changed his wrong lead, and still is able to get the job done. But he's looking awkward, and I don't know. I just not a big fan. Not a big fan of either of those horses either. All right, well, let's see if we can keep the negativity rolling. One more to go here. And I don't mean to be negative, but look, you're listening to this video to get my opinion, and I don't think these horses are that good. The Pocahontas was next, won by the number 3, Taken by the Wind. A 72 buyer speed figure here. Miscomplicated was second, got a 62. The third place finisher, Joke Maker, a 58. Look, I do think Taken by the Wind ran a decent race here. I just don't know what that means going forward. So here we go. We're we're running here, and you're going to see Taken by the Wind is in 4th in the spot, and in a pretty good spot here. The pace, I guess, kind of falls apart in this race as the 3, the 2, and the 4 are the horses that finish 1, 2, 3. So some of these speed horses just didn't run very well down the stretch. I had the 5 here on top, and she just didn't do much, down the stretch either. Irad Ortiz is on the 3, kind of gets that pocket trip, kind of up there close. And you're thinking here at this point, maybe gets boxed in a little bit, right behind 3 horses, nowhere to go. That didn't end up being a problem much here in this short field of 6. So the 4 Joke Maker on the outside is making a move. And I thought, okay, that horse was a maiden, but I thought that horse got a shot here. Going to run big. At the top of the stretch, I thought this is anybody's race. But I do like right here, Taken by the Wind was able to split horses. That's a good sign from a young horse. And you're going to see her kind of just run away with it from here. I think it's just a matter of these horses behind her aren't really running much, right? And so it's just kind of, I don't know. It wasn't great. Give Taken by the Wind a lot of credit. This was just her second start. I do think there's a chance that horse is going to move forward. I don't want to be overly negative about that race because, again, the move she kind of makes, she shows maturity. I think she could get better. I just don't think she's the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies winner. This is a Breeders' Cup video, right? So I'm looking at everything kind of gearing it towards the Breeders' Cup. I just think it's far-fetched that this is the horse that's going to win the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Filly. She's going to have to move forward off this race. But there's nothing wrong with this specific race. She looked fine, but she's going to have to get a little bit faster. No doubt about it. All right. So that's it. That's it for this week. Or last week, I should say. This week coming up, we've got some good ones. Next week we'll talk about the Princess Rooney, which is a Breeders' Cup win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, for the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint, and then we'll talk Cotillion, and we'll also talk Pennsylvania Derby, and everything else jumps out. We'll talk about that as well. So a lot coming up this week that we'll recap. But that's what happened last week, and I just didn't love a whole lot last week, so. We'll see as we go on, and we'll see what we see this week. All right, guys, thanks everybody for watching, and tune in next week for another Breeders' Cup update.